The Adler Nation meets right here every weekday afternoon starting at 1:06 on Radio NL.
Your city, your province, your viewpoint. This is the Jim Harrison Show.
Welcome back to the final segment of the program. The BC Scrap It program is aimed at convincing older automobile owners to retire their rides, and its CEO is Dennis Ragazza, and we're pleased to welcome him to the program this morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Jim.
Now, Scrap It reached a significant milestone last week. 25,000 vehicles turned into crushed cars. How significant is that?
Well, it's pretty significant. The program started back in 1996 with a simple objective, and that was to get the older, higher polluting vehicles off the road and reduce the emissions coming from them and improve air quality, whether it's in Vancouver or Kamloops or Prince George.
What's response been now? Has it been pretty much even right across the province, or is it pretty much a Lower Mainland-inspired program?
No, we've had a good response from areas such as Kamloops. On a per capita basis, it's about equal to the Vancouver region. I think it's fair to say that there's an equal distribution of old cars across the province. ICBC tells us there's about 300,000 older vehicles, 1995 and older, in the Lower Mainland, but there's 300,000 more sitting around the province. So that means there's a whole bunch of them waiting for us in Kamloops.
So you've got 600,000, if my math is right. You've done 25,000 over 15 years. Are you sort of making a big enough dent, or is there a lot more progress to be had?
Well, we'd like to do more vehicles for sure, and that's why we kind of have had a major event, the 25,000th event, and we're reaching out through the media to ensure that more people know about our program. And we've done 25,000, but we have 575,000 to go at least, right? So we're looking forward to more customers.
Tell me a little bit about the program for those who don't know. Who is eligible and under what conditions, and what are the real benefits?
Yeah, well, the application conditions are is you have to have a vehicle that's 1995 model year or older, and it has to have been insured by ICBC for the last 12 months. Those are the only two conditions, and of course if it's licensed and registered in BC. And if you meet those two conditions and you want to scrap your vehicle through a program, simply come to our website at scrapit.ca, and the rest is pretty straightforward.
And the vehicle also has to be running.
Absolutely. We don't take any towed vehicles. The reason for that, Jim, is that the philosophy of the program has always been that we want to take vehicles off the road that will likely continue to operate for several years further. So that we want to get them off the road now because we know that many of these vehicles are real super polluters. So let's get them off the road now and help those people get them into a newer vehicle, for example, or if they're in the Lower Mainland, for example, into the bus system or onto a bike.
I read on your website that there are participating automotive dealers. I presume most mainstream auto dealers are participating?
Exactly. Like, for example, in the Kamloops area, I think every single new car dealer is a member of our program. And they're a pretty important partner because while we offer an incentive, the new car dealers also offer an additional incentive if anybody scraps their car. So, for example, through our program, you could get $300 cash. You could match that $300 cash with another $250 discount that the car dealers give. So if you got an older car, you get $550 for the vehicle. That allows you sometimes to get into a newer model vehicle than you would have otherwise by taking that incentive and putting it as a down payment.
Now, the advice is not to run off and go buy a new vehicle and then try to make the application. You've got to do that first.
Yeah, that's right. Like, we want to make sure people are properly qualified because we don't want people to do the program backwards and find out they don't qualify. We've had a couple of situations like that, so we prefer people come to us first. Our rules are pretty clear and straightforward, and once they have an advice from us that they're approved in the program, everything else is very straightforward. We have one delivery point, drop-off point for the vehicle in Kamloops, so it's very straightforward.
Who actually is responsible for getting that vehicle scrapped? Is it the dealer, the owner?
The process is you apply, you're approved, you drive your vehicle to the nearest delivery point. For example, in Kamloops, that would be Rivershore Towing. And once you've been approved by our program, Rivershore then gets the vehicle to the Lower Mainland, at which point all the tires, the batteries, the mercury switches, all the fluids are removed. The vehicle's crushed, and then it's put on a barge and shipped to a steel mill in Tacoma, Washington.
Now,
so everybody has their responsibility point along this, but for the consumer, it's dead simple. You apply, you're approved, you do a handoff of the vehicle to Riverside, and then you apply to our program for the incentive, and that's it.
Has the benefit to this point been measured? I mean, have you been able to tell how much pollutant you've taken out of the air?
Yeah, we sure have. One of the things we have been doing is taking a random selection of vehicles that normally run through our scrap program, and we do a set-aside on those vehicles. And we've set those vehicles, and we send them over to the Air Care Research Station in Burnaby. And that station has a facility to do comprehensive emissions testing for every vehicle. And what they do is they do that emission testing and compare that old scrap vehicle to actually a brand new vehicle. And the results are pretty startling. For example, during the big event we had last week, we announced that one of the vehicles scrapped there was 86 times more polluting than a brand new vehicle. We've had situations where other vehicles have been tested for some pollutants. It may have been 500 times more polluting. And in a way, it's not really surprising because the older vehicles were built in a different era with not as advanced emission control technology. And of course, over the years, the vehicles degrade and they're not maintained so well, and catalytic converters burn out. And so these numbers are not really surprising. But I think many people believe that their older vehicle really doesn't pollute very much because they can't see anything out of the tailpipe because it's not smoking. But that doesn't mean it's not polluting, because many of these pollutants are invisible, and the only way you can actually know how much it's polluting is by taking it through these test centers, right? So the numbers are pretty startling, and based on these numbers, we feel that we're making a major contribution to improving air quality in BC.
Website is www.scrapit.ca. Our thanks to Dennis Ragazza, the CEO of BC's Scrap It program. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Thanks, Jim. My pleasure.
Healthcare is up next with BC's Health Minister Kevin Falcon on the next Harrison program Thursday morning following NL News at 9. Have a good day.